There is a kind of invitation that doesn't come in an envelope. It doesn't arrive with a date and a time and a dress code. It comes quietly, in the small, almost invisible adjustments a woman makes to a life she has spent decades building for herself. And when a woman over 60 begins to extend this invitation, most men never see it. They're still looking for the obvious signs, the verbal cues, the clear green light. And while they wait, she is already opening doors. She is already making space. She is already telling him in the only language she trusts anymore that she has chosen him. This isn't about tricks. There are no hacks here. This is about learning to read the silent signals of a woman who has lived enough to know that the deepest invitations are never spoken aloud. By the time you finish listening, you will see what you've been missing. And you will know when a woman is not just interested, but actively building a place for you in her world. Most men at this stage do this wrong. They meet a woman who is vibrant, independent, and deeply rooted in her own life. She has her routines, her friendships, her quiet Sunday mornings, her carefully tended home. And she seems interested. She laughs at their jokes. She accepts their invitations. She responds to their texts. But they can't tell if she really sees a future with them. So they wait. They wait for her to say something, to define the relationship, to announce her intentions. And while they wait, they miss the quiet construction happening all around them. They miss the small renovations she's making to her life to accommodate their presence. And eventually, she stops making them. Not because she's angry, not because she's playing games, because she has concluded, sadly but calmly, that this man cannot see what she is offering. And a woman at this stage of life does not beg to be seen. She simply returns to the life she built, closes the door she had opened, and carries on. You're left wondering what happened. Nothing happened. You just didn't notice the invitation. Here is the biological truth you need to understand. A woman's nervous system after 60 has undergone a profound rewiring. Researchers who study mature attachment have observed that the female brain at this stage of life prioritizes something entirely different from what it did at 40 or 50. It prioritizes integration, the seamless weaving of a new person into an existing, cherished life. She is not looking for a man to rescue her. She rescued herself long ago. She is not looking for a man to complete her. She learned to be whole on her own. What she is looking for is a man who can fit into the life she has built without breaking the things that matter to her. A man whose presence adds to her peace rather than subtracting from it. When she decides you might be that man, she doesn't announce it. She begins to make room, quietly, subtly, in ways that most men never notice because they're still operating from an old playbook that no longer applies. Let me share a quick moment of personal failure with you. I once knew a woman in her early 60s. We had been spending time together for a few months, dinners, walks, long conversations that stretched into the evening. One afternoon, she mentioned that she had cleared out a drawer in her bathroom. She said it casually, almost as an aside. I had all these old things in there. Finally got rid of them. There's actually an empty drawer now. I nodded. I said something like, "That's always satisfying." And I moved on. It took me months to realize what she was actually doing. She was telling me she had made space, physical space, in her home, for me, not a demand, not a negotiation, an offering. And I missed it because I was waiting for a conversation about where this is going. She never brought it up again. And eventually, the connection faded. Not because she stopped caring, because I had shown her, without meaning to, that I wasn't paying attention to the language she actually spoke. The language of quiet, practical, undefended invitation. Let me give you 5 never-before-shared signs that a woman over 60 is silently inviting you into her life. Each one is a door she's opening. Most men walk right past them. Those who understand walk through. First, the routine disclosure. This is subtle. She starts telling you about her ordinary days, not the highlights, not the interesting stories, the mundane architecture of her life. I usually go to the farmer's market on Thursday mornings. I have a standing coffee date with my friend Susan every Tuesday. I always take a walk around the lake before sunset. Most men hear this as small talk. It's not. She is giving you the map of her life. She is telling you when and where she can be found. She is offering you the coordinates of her existence so that you can find your way into it. A woman who is merely friendly keeps her routines private. A woman who is ready to let you in begins to narrate them. She's telling you without words, this is where I am, this is when I'm there. If you want to be part of my life, here is the door. Most men never notice this. They nod and ask about the weather. The man who understands says, I'd love to join you at that market sometime, and watches her face light up. Second, the errand inclusion. This one is so easy to miss. She mentions something small she needs to do. I need to pick up a new lamp for the reading nook. Or, I've been meaning to get my bookshelves organized. Or, the garden needs some work before spring. And then she pauses. Just for a moment. She's not asking for help. She's not hinting. She's offering a doorway. She's saying, without saying it, this is a piece of my world. Would you like to step into it? Most men hear this as a statement of fact. They say, oh, that sounds like a project. And the door stays closed. A man who understands hears the invitation. He says, I'd enjoy helping you with that. Or, let me know when you're going to look at lamps. I'd like to come. Not because she needs his help. She doesn't. She has managed her life perfectly well for decades because she wants his company in the small, ordinary tasks that make up a life. That is what she's really looking for. A man who understands that intimacy is built in the errands, not just the evenings. Third, the friend introduction pivot. This one is powerful. She mentions her friends, not in passing, with a slight pivot. My friend Margaret would really like you. Or, I was telling my book club about that story you told me. Or, you and my son would actually get along. Most men never notice the shift. They think she's just making conversation. What she's actually doing is beginning the process of integration. She's imagining you inside her social world. She's testing the fit in her own mind. And she's offering you a preview. She's telling you without words, I'm thinking about what it would look like to bring you into the circle of people who matter to me. That is not casual. That is a silent signal of serious intention. Her body language reveals it. She might watch you a little more closely after she says it. She's watching to see if you recoil or lean in. If you lean in, if you say, I'd love to meet Margaret sometime, you have just accepted an invitation she was afraid to make explicit. Fourth, the key left out. This is not literal, but it's close. She starts making small adjustments to her home that suggest she's thinking about your comfort there. She mentions that she bought a different kind of coffee because she remembered you liked it. She points out where the extra blankets are, just so you know. She shows you which light switches do what. She gives you the Wi-Fi password without you asking. These are not logistical courtesies. They are territorial softeners. She is, piece by piece, making her space feel like it could be your space too, not by erasing herself, by making room for you alongside her. Most men never notice this because they're not looking for it. They just feel comfortable and don't question why. The why is this. She has already begun the quiet work of weaving you into the fabric of her daily existence. She's telling you without words that you belong here. Now, my friend, the fifth sign. The one I promised you, the most powerful one, the one that most men will never see because it requires a kind of attention that very few have cultivated. It's called the silence of inclusion. This doesn't happen early. It happens after you've been in her space for a while. Maybe you're sitting in her living room, maybe you're on her back porch, maybe you're in her kitchen while she makes tea. And the conversation has drifted into a natural pause. And she doesn't fill it. She doesn't perform, she just continues what she's doing, making tea, looking out the window, turning a page in her book, and you're just there, present, quiet, included. That silence is the invitation. Most men never experience this because they break it. They feel the quiet as a void and they rush to fill it with words, with questions, with something. And in doing so, they reject the most intimate invitation a woman over 60 can offer. The invitation to simply be with her, in her space, without performance, without agenda, without the need to entertain or be entertained. When she lets the silence be a silence and includes you inside it, she is telling you without words something she may never say aloud. I don't need to manage you. I don't need to perform for you. I don't need to fill the space between us with noise to feel safe. You can just be here, and that is enough. That, my friend, is the invitation at the end of all other invitations. It is the destination every other sign has been pointing toward. It is the moment when she has stopped treating you as a guest and has begun treating you as part of the landscape of her life. You are no longer someone she is hosting. You are someone she is living alongside. If you can meet her in the silence of inclusion without needing to break it, you have accepted an invitation that most men will never even see. And she will know, she will feel it, and she will continue, quietly, steadily, to build the space in her life that now belongs to you. These are the never-before-shared signs, the routine disclosure, the errand inclusion, the friend introduction pivot, the key left out, and finally, the silence of inclusion. They are not loud, they are not obvious, they require a man who is paying attention, a man who understands that a woman at this stage of life doesn't send engraved invitations, she sends quiet signals, and she waits to see if you're the kind of man who can read them. I want you to think back. Have you ever been with a woman and felt suddenly that you were no longer a visitor, but somehow part of the room? Have you ever heard her mention her routines and thought nothing of it? Have you ever been given the Wi-Fi password without asking and not realized what you were being told? Which of these signs surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear what you're seeing now that you couldn't see before. And if this understanding has opened your eyes, if you now realize that her invitations come wrapped in the ordinary moments of her day, then hit that subscribe button. Do it, so more men like us can stop waiting for announcements and start noticing the quiet construction of a life that now has room for them. Next time, we're going to talk about the one thing she notices about your hands that tells her everything she needs to know about you as a man. And it's not what you think. I'll see you then.